super speeders. Should you be worried about this new law that just went into effect in the beautiful, sunny, totally not trashy at all state of Florida? A new law just went into effect in Florida, House Bill 351, also known as the Super Speeders Law. That's right, there is a new controversy in the state of Florida. And no, we're not talking about alligator Alcatraz, we're not talking about Mar-a-Lago, we're not talking about the environmental change, the overdevelopment, the increase in road rage shootings, the increase in traffic fatalities, the increased cost of living, the overcrowding, insurance companies pulling out, lawmakers not being able to access appropriate health care, the increase in immigration raids, the upcoming storm season, or even the allegations that the governor is most likely wearing high heels so that he seems a little bit taller. Now, we are talking about the Super Speeders Law. But first, howdy y'all crankers, my name is Jeff, you are watching TrashWerks, and today we are going to be talking about speeding in the motorcycle community, and specifically how that is going to be affected here in the state of Florida. But before we get into that, you might be wondering, why am I inside? Why am I not outdoors where I normally am filming at? Well, it's because this is the state of Florida, and this is what the weather in the state of Florida is like right now. Not very good for filming now, is it? So before we talk about Florida's new super speeders law, I think it's important to take a look at super speeder laws around the country so we can understand what makes Florida's so controversial. Before we start talking about all these laws and bills, keep in mind this. Despite my great oral skills and my willingness to accept money for morally ambiguous things, I am in fact not a lawyer. Just one of the homies. I am the supreme authority on all things motorcycling, but certified lawyer? No. So with that in mind, understand that everything I'm saying is just a whole load of yap and not actual legal advice. You should find that from a legal professional. So Florida is not the first state to implement a super speeders law. In fact, there is another state, the beautiful state of Georgia. Shout out to all my Georgia riders. If you're from Georgia, comment below, tell me where your favorite Waffle House is. But Georgia has implemented their own super speeders law, and the criteria for it's going to vary a bit, but generally, if you're going above 75 to 85 miles an hour, depending on the type of road you're on, your speeding ticket will have an additional super speeders charge on there. This additional charge, I believe, is $200, and if you fail to pay it, then you can have your license suspended. It's a fairly automated system. They've got it pretty down packed, but basically, Georgia's super speeder law is an enhancement to standard speeding charges that have additional fines and penalties on top of it. Now, other states handle egregious speeding a little bit differently. In fact, most states will actually just upgrade your charge to a reckless driving charge, which is typically going to be a misdemeanor in most states. The criteria for that's going to vary here and there, but generally speaking, if you get upgraded from speeding to reckless driving, you're probably doing something pretty insane. Now, that brings us to the beautiful state of Florida, which I am a resident of. I'm actually a native Floridian. That's right, I look down on all of you transplants who have moved here at some point in your life. If there is traffic anywhere at any time in the state of Florida, I'm blaming you guys. Now, House Bill 351 states two criteria that can elevate someone to that super speeder status. The first is that someone is going at least 50 miles an hour over the posted speed limit. The other is that they're going an excess of 100 miles an hour regardless of what the posted speed limit is. Meeting either of those two criteria will open that individual to the possibility of getting arrested, and if convicted of those charges, they will face a $500 fine, which if they do not pay, will look at a license suspension for up to a year. And if you get a second super speeder charge within 5 years of your first one and are convicted, you'll be charged $1,000 with the possibility of having your license suspended. But the big ticket item, why super speeders in Florida has become such a big talking point, is that in addition to the fines, in addition to the license suspensions, you will be looking at jail time. That's right. you can be looking at jail time for speeding. If it's your first offense, it can be up to 90 days in jail. If it is your second offense within 5 years, then you're looking at up to 6 months in jail. And in addition to that, if you are convicted of the super speeder statute, in addition to any other felonious activities, so if you were fleeing and eluding, if you were street racing, then that super speeder then gets modified to be a third-degree felony rather than just a misdemeanor charge. So Florida is really putting their foot down on speeders. And the big controversy around this is that it is focused solely on speeding. Again, a lot of states have provisions for upgrading speeding charges to reckless driving if you're going over a certain amount. But Florida specifically has made it so that it is focused solely on that speeding charge. You can still get a reckless driving charge in addition to that. So basically, you now have a whole nother charge that you can catch. And so this brings me to talk about what I really want to discuss in this video, which is speeding within the motorcycle community and how it is a problem. That's right, my hot take for this video is speeding is a problem within the motorcycling community. And I know, I sound like an old fogey right now, not hip with it, not one of the cool kids. But hear me out. I can completely acknowledge that speed is inherent to motorcycles. It's like basically 80% of their whole gig is being fast. And I'm not going to pretend like going fast on a motorcycle isn't fun. It is. And I'm not going to expect that we're ever going to live in a world where every single motorcyclist never goes above the speed limit. But what I want us to acknowledge as a community is that speeding is a net negative and that it shouldn't be encouraged. So let's take a look at some of that nuance. Yes, going fast is fun. But if you have to go fast to have fun, you're not a real rider. Now, I think the best use case for understanding how you can have fun on a motorcycle without going fast would be 125s. That's right, I'm talking about you, my little Groms, my little Z125s, CF Moto Papios, I guess. Those bikes are a blast. If you've ever ridden a 125cc bike, comment down below. Let me know if you've had fun or not. I bet if you scroll down below, you're going to see an absolute truckload of hooligans who have had an absolute blast going about 35 miles an hour. 50 if they're lucky, and 70 if they like to lie on the internet. That's right, there is more to riding than going fast in a straight line. Again, I'm not saying that going fast on a bike is not fun, but there is a significant amount of riders within the community who glorify speeding. And guess what? Most of them only ever go in a straight line, and typically not even that fast. Like, I get it. Straight line racing is a thing, and I can appreciate that. But let's be real. If we're looking at a comment section, and Mr. Jixer Ghost on a white GSXR 600 or Mr. Chase Me S1K, they're not really diving that deep into motorcycling. In fact, I can summarize exactly what they do right now. This, and that's it. And they're not really doing anything that someone who's never ridden a bike before couldn't do. They're not even really pushing the bikes to their limits. Because let's face it, if they're on a modern leader bike, most likely their rider aids are keeping the rubber side down for them, and if they're on the 600, well, the only thing they're pushing is how much abuse their neglected motor can take. And no, I'm not saying you have to be hyper skilled to have fun on a bike, but I am saying that you don't have to speed to have fun on a bike. Look at cruisers. They couldn't speed if they wanted to, yet millions and millions of riders will ride their cruisers around. If you want to know why, well, click the link in the top whatever corner and watch my video explaining the point of cruisers. But again, the point I'm trying to make isn't that going fast in a straight line isn't fun. It is. But what I am trying to say is that if you can accept that there are other things that you can do on a motorcycle that are just as, if not more fun than going fast in a straight line, well, you're not a real rider. People have fun doing parking lot drills. People have fun doing Moto Gymkhana. People have fun doing trials riding. People have fun doing trail riding. People have fun doing long haul touring. People have fun doing stunting. People have fun track riding. People have fun doing jumps. People have fun adventuring. There are a million different things that you can do on a motorcycle that are fun besides ripping down the highway. But I get it. People are gonna speed down the highway. It's just an inevitable thing with a motorcycle. Beyond just my judgment, which again, I am the supreme authority on all things motorcycling, the biggest downside and the reason that I'm making a big stink about it is that it affects others. That's right, speeding on a motorcycle does affect others. There's a common misconception within the motorcycling community that people think if I'm riding dangerously, who cares? It's going to be me that suffers, not anyone else. But I'm here to tell you, that's not true. Obviously, if you're on a public roadway where the rest of the public exists, you can get into an accident with another vehicle. And guess what? Now you've affected someone else. Look at it this way. Even if it's a minor injury, now someone might have to deal with insurance. Now they might have to get repairs to their vehicle. Now you've at least taken time out of their day because they've had to stop what they're doing and give attention to that accident. But let's say if you had a major incident and there was a lot of speed involved, well, you're going to be applying a lot of damage to their car. A lot of people don't seem to understand that when you get into a motorcycle accident involving another vehicle, bikes are heavy and they're fast. Bikes can do a lot of damage. You can, in fact, injure people inside their cars on your bike. If you don't think that speeding on your bike is that big of a deal to another car driver, well, get in your car, your personal vehicle, and now pick a buddy, whoever you want, tell them to get on their bike and run into your vehicle. Literally any speed, pick literally anywhere on your vehicle, and go ahead, tell them to run into it, and let's see how little of a deal it is. And guess what? There are other people that are involved in accident scenes beyond just the people involved in that accident. You've got first responders that are responding to that accident. You have passerbys and witnesses who see what happens. And that applies for single vehicle accidents with motorcyclists as well. If you're going too fast and you go off the road or hit a tree or hit a guardrail or hit a curb, there are still going to be other people involved with that accident besides yourself. And so if you are the kind of person who thinks that your irresponsible mistakes on your motorcycle are only going to affect you, well, I'm going to have to go dad mode on you here and tell you, you're being selfish. You're being irresponsible, and you are objectively incorrect in your line of thinking. Your choices on a public roadway will always affect others, and that's just a fact. And beyond just the perspective of motorcycling accidents, speeding also affects the public perception of the motorcycling community as a whole. If you're in a state and you're wondering why it's so hard to pass a lane filtering law so that motorcyclists can filter through traffic and have a lower chance of getting rear-ended, well, it's probably because the only memorable interaction that a taxpayer has had with a motorcyclist was getting scared when a motorcyclist blasted past them with their Toche exhaust system. It's not a good look. If you look at the comment section of any viral video involving a motorcyclist and a car driver getting into a little bit of road rage or an accident or anything of that sort, you'll find that public perception of motorcyclists is pretty poor. And on that note, social media is not helping because those algorithms push content that is more controversial and dangerous. It's a lot harder to get someone to lock into a 10-minute video on clutch control in a parking lot than it is a 15-second clip of someone blasting through highway traffic. So, what should we do as a community? That's right, you're getting your first official decree from me, the supreme authority on all things motorcycling, and that is do not engage with content that is detrimental to the motorcycling community. So if you see something pop up on your feed and you think, wow, they are acting a fool and that will get someone killed, well, don't comment, because comments are just engagement and an algorithm will push that more. And so what you should do is negatively interact with that post. If you can downvote it or thumbs down it, if you can report it, or even just to save your feed, just block that creator. Anything to lower their statistics is how algorithms get trained. So we just need to be a little bit more conscious in how we are engaging with media on the internet. And so you've gotten the thumbs up from me, the supreme authority on all things motorcycling, to bring back public shaming, and not boosting anything that is going to negatively affect the motorcycling community and, quite frankly, put someone in harm's way. Motorcycling is a little bit of a weird hobby in that my hot take is why we shouldn't break the law. With that is all that I have for you today. If you enjoy the video and want to watch more, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video. If you have any questions for me or comments that are hopefully above a 5th grade reading level, please leave them down below. If you want to find me on other platforms, I am on Instagram at trash.works. If you want to find me on TikTok, I am there as TrashWerks. But with that, I will see you all in the next one.